Today we're going to be talking about
Joe versus the Volcano.
Once upon a time, in the middle of a deep, dark factory, an average Joe
Joe Banks.
lived a very boring life.
Good morning, Dee Dee.
Hi, Joe. What's with the shoe?
Losing my soul.
Yeah.
Until one day, he found out his life was over.
I'm not sick except for this terminal disease.
That's right. You have some time left, Mr. Banks. Live it well.
And that's
Joe Banks,
when his adventure began.
you and I might be able to help each other. I want to hire you to jump into a volcano. A total red carpet situation. It's wine, women, and song in the sweetest little paradise you ever saw. A real journey.
Are you Joe Banks?
Yeah.
Warner Brothers presents Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan,
Joe. Joe Banks.
in the story of a man, a mountain, and a miracle.
Take me to the volcano!
He's diving. He's jumping. He's leaping.
Written and directed by John Patrick Shanley, the Academy Award-winning writer of Moonstruck.
I love you.
I love you too. I've never been in love with anybody before either. It's great. I am glad. But the timing stinks. I gotta go.
Joe versus the volcano.
after the toilet dumpster fire that the previous Tom Hanks movie was that we tried to review, we were like, let's see what his next movie is. I literally watched it before I came here,
As did
into
I.
our magical studio in outer space. This movie was incomparable to The Bachelor Party. Bachelor Party is like the Antichrist of fucking movies. Honestly, it's so terrible.
Shall not dwell on that one, but
Let's forget it.
this film was directed by John Patrick Shanley, who was at that time, that was his first film.
Wow.
He did a lot of work on Broadway, and then won the Oscar for Moonstruck, which was a film with Cher. I don't know if you remember.
Seriously, that's
Yeah,
his movie as well.
Well, he wrote that.
You want me to come to the wedding of my brother Johnny? Where's my wedding?
This film stars Tom Hanks, obviously, in case we haven't mentioned it a few times.
It is Tom Hanks, yes.
And he plays a character called Joe Banks, and Joe is
Actually, an everyday Joe. Well, I mean, apart from, him working at the anal factory.
which is called, by the way, American Panoscope. I had to note this down.
Oh, right. Well
Home of. Do you remember what's the home of?
Oh, yeah, was it the... was it the rectal probe?
Yes. Home of the rectal probe.
It's basically the anal factory, because what they got, like the rectal probe. They have this nasty looking guy putting lube in like huge canisters, and if you noticed, Joe's boss literally has like some kind of a trophy with artificial testicles.
Prototype artificial testicles, right?
And on a different matter,
Yeah.
the weather here is really hot. Don't you
It is,
agree?
yes.
Yeah, the summer is really kicking our ass. But it's okay, I love the summer, I prefer the heat to cold.
And this is something exactly what Tom Hanks really essentially needed in this film. He needed to get some sun, some color into his life. In fact, the very first instance of color is when we see him in his office being as depressed and miserable as you can be, and then pulling out that one literally shining light in his life.
Oh, yes. The lamp does look
Yeah.
amazing.
Did you notice that the lamp essentially kind of foretells the whole story?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh.
The lamp is the story.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He goes to his doctor, right? And then the doctor tells him that he's got a very, very unique condition.
A brain cloud.
Brain cloud?
After the visit to the doctor, he goes
Yes.
back to his job and
Yes.
essentially quits in really cool fashion.
You look like a bag of shit stuffed in a cheap suit.
Too chicken shit afraid to live my life, so I sold it to you for $300 freaking dollars. Oh, wait!
Just rewind the tape a bit.
Yeah.
You know, later on in the movie, he says he makes $300 a week.
$300 freaking dollars. Oh, wait!
And his shoes are falling apart. What are you, a crack addict? Like, when you hear somebody say $300 in a 1980 movie or 1990s movie, just go in, type the dollar amount, and type in value in said year, and you will see that it's way more. It's actually, he's got a decent salary.
What do you think is about $600?
And he does nothing at work. He literally does nothing at work. I mean, how many calendars or catalogs do you need to send for rectal products? You know, God, it's a sweet job.
So
man.
it is a sweet gig. I would
Yeah,
say.
man. I mean, like, you know, it does look miserable, but you know what? People work in like beautiful offices with amazing parking and facilities, free fruit, and all these other things. But I mean, you know,
We
jobs
have
suck. You know, they work like, you know, 25 hours a day. You know?
In this office, we
Yeah.
have one of his female interests.
It's basically Meg Ryan without makeup.
You going?
He basically asks her out to dinner.
How about dinner tonight?
Yeah, okay.
And how does that end up going for him?
I'm gonna die.
Why would you tell a girl that you're gonna die right about you know, she's about to go to bed with you? You know, like, yeah, maybe leave it for the morning, or you know,
Yeah, kill the mood in the morning, right?
yeah, kill the mood in the morning when she has to leave.
You're a classic male chauvinist pig.
The next morning, he gets a visit from a mysterious gentleman whose name I cannot remember, but he
Dooferson.
is played by Lloyd Bridges.
Yes,
Famously.
Yes, he's dad of Bew and Jeff Bridges.
Bo.
Is that
Bo.
Bo?
Bew. And basically, he makes him an offer, which is
That he cannot refuse.
jump into the volcano, and I will get.
Here's 4 credit cards that you can spend money on.
There is a bit of a montage of him going, you know, shopping, getting new clothes, getting a makeover.
He's got a really cool limo driver.
What kind of clothes do you got now?
Well, I got the kind of clothes I'm wearing.
So you got no clothes.
Oh, can I please tell you about my favorite moment in the film and the favorite character? The guy that sells luggage.
So, a real journey. Very exciting. As a luggage problem. This is our premier steamer trunk. All handmade. Only the finest materials. It's even watertight. Tight as a drum.
I'll take 4 of them.
May you live to be 1,000 years old, sir.
Oh god. He was very funny. Didn't you think it was hilarious?
May you live for 1,000 years. His next encounter is with the daughter of his sponsor.
Yes.
Which is, again, played by Meg Ryan. And her name is Angelica.
When she picks him up and she asks him, "What do you think of LA?" He goes like, it's it looks very fake. I love it.
I've never been to LA before.
You're kidding me. What do you think?
It looks fake. I like it.
And I'm like, cool line. And then you realize that they're nowhere near LA. They're literally driving by the ocean.
She has a few issues. Mainly daddy issues.
But no financial issues. I mean, you know, if I drove a Mercedes, what is it, an SLK or something with license plates, good girl, you know, I'd be really sad about shit, you know. It's like, my father, he has no time for me.
I was an advertising librarian for a medical supply company.
Oh, I have no response to that.
And the next morning, she hands him off essentially to her half sister.
That's your half-sister?
Yeah. Hello, Angelica. Hello, Patricia.
Her daddy offers her a boat if she drives Tom Hanks, aka Joe Volcano, to the volcano island.
Funny when you consider the whole story is completely driven by capitalism and greed, perhaps. But it is not about that. It is absolutely not about that.
No. Money does not make you happy at all. No.
Essentially, we are on the way to
Dububu. No, it's like Tapu.
Waponi? No, Waponi with the people.
Waponivu.
Waponi.
No?
We're just talking like babies now.
There's a storm which looks really funky, like there's like green fog. You know?
Yeah.
Because it's a typhoon. And if you notice, they're super utterly unprepared for it. Literally, the engine's room exposed to the elements. And they're walking on the deck like, you know, I'm not a sailor. I've been on a boat like once. And I know you should not be casually walking or on the upper deck, especially with the sails, the sail rather swinging left and right.
That's when they first kiss. And she gets wiped out immediately afterwards, doesn't she?
Yes, but there's one moment because of which she fell in love with him. Because he just saves her life. He jumps in right after. The ship sinks. What? Did the rest of the crew die?
I think so. By the way, you did notice the lightning throughout the film, right?
No.
The symbol, the pattern.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And the road
And
leading to the factory. What's that all about?
I was wondering, because that's, to me, and it was in his apartment as well, on his wall. The crack on the wall was the same.
Oh, yeah, for some reason.
And the lightning that essentially splits the sailboat in half is the one. That's that same thing.
Definitely we're trying to sort of program that shit into our skulls,
But I don't know the exact significance.
Yeah, they never really sort of show the significance.
The best trunks in the world end up, floating to the surface, and they make a raft.
He gives her all of his water.
That's very heroic, which is also part of the story. He's him being a hero, and they luckily find the island. Obviously, they.
All right, well, this is where the stuff gets a bit wacky. The islanders apparently a boat full of Romans and Jews back in when the Romans were a thing. They entered a storm and just went 1,000 miles, of course, and then they ended up in South Pacific on this island. I don't know why this was important to the story. Literally, there was no purpose to this. It was just like, okay,
it was almost
it's
like
in the movie.
Wacky for wacky's sake.
I love orange soda. So, I mean, like, a 9-year-old kid wrote that script, It's the remnants of the 80s, In the 80s, this quirky shit was all over the place,
Well, at least it wasn't an actual product placement. If this was now, and if it was Sony Pictures, oh yeah, Pepsi all the way, right?
Go in and order a Pepsi. Here's a 50.
And also, the scene when they're like giving them the spot treatment, pampering them, and like the lady's getting all the best stuff, and Tom Hanks getting bashed with bananas in his face
and fish,
smashed with fish, and the islanders are biting on his toenails, and it's like, okay, I mean, they could have literally what was it? Was it Steven Spielberg's budget on this movie?
I don't know what the budget was, but it seemed like they spent a bit of money on it.
You could have sent at least one person down to Samoa or somewhere and just see what the hell they're doing, just to sort of see what these islanders are up to, because they could be doing some stuff that could be realistic for the movie, but yeah, it's fine.
So essentially, she realizes just about as he's about to, do the deed. She's like,
Stop right there! I love you. I've fallen in love with you.
To stop him from jumping in straight away, she suggested they get married.
They get married.
Yeah.
You want to marry her? Yes. You want to marry him?
Yes.
You're married.
In the end, when they jump into the volcano, in its whole big mighty wisdom, shoots them out. Apparently can fly for hundreds of meters up in the air and then land down in the water. Nothing's gonna happen to you. Water is as soft as a cushiest pillow. Yeah.
So essentially, the whole island goes down.
Yes,
and everybody dies.
Okay, do you want to be Joe? I'll be Meg Ryan.
Okay.
Right. Oh, Joe, but we're gonna drown now.
No, we're not.
And then there comes the suitcases, and yeah, they're cool. Yeah.
And they lived happily ever after. That's how the film finishes. This is essentially it was a lovely story about. It's the whole thing about. It's about the journey. It's not the destination, is it?
True. Because we're all gonna die eventually. I mean, I'm not, but you know, you will.
Yeah.